Hi guys, welcome back to Tira Gitana. My name is Abby, and today we are going to be doing something a little bit different on my channel. I wanted to talk about the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which came out on Netflix, and I'm really excited about it. And you might be wondering why I'm doing this video 2 months after it came out, but that's because I started watching it like 3 days ago. I've been meaning to. Everybody's been telling me to watch it, I know. But I just really needed to take some time, I guess, to, because I knew like if I watched it I was gonna binge watch it, and that's exactly what ended up happening. I got like no sleep. But I did want to talk about it because there's a lot of like amazing stuff going on in the series, and I think it's really interesting how everything's playing out. And yeah, we have a lot to talk about, but I'm gonna be pretty much reviewing it. I am a bruja, I am a witch as well. I do have some background in paganism, but because I do it in spell work here and there, but I am not Wiccan by any means, shape, or form. But I do practice elemental magic as well, in different forms. So I can definitely say that while watching the show I was just like, there's so many spells. But we're gonna talk about it. So I'm gonna talk about some of my favorite things, and I don't think I'm gonna be reviewing it the same way people probably do, which is like, you know, the show is about a witch, and you know, it used to be a series. Like, if you're watching this video, you already knew that it was on Netflix. You either watched it or are thinking about watching it, or you're a conspiracy theorist, or you're like one of these religious people that hates all the witchy things, whatever, or you're just curious or whatever. For whatever the case may be, I'm assuming that whoever's watching this, because there will be spoilers, whoever's watching this is a spoiler warning, is aware of the series in some capacity or have watched it already, because the discussion is what we're going to be talking about. So I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite things from the like series as a whole. I'm not going to be breaking down the episodes or anything like that. I'm just going to kind of talk about certain things, witchy things that I really love that they put in. And I'm going to start with probably the most controversial one, which is the whole Hail Satan situation. Now, I know and I'm very aware that there's witches that work with Satan. I'm also very aware that there is a satanic church and they do their thing. This is not the angle in which I am going to be approaching it, as far as like I am aware that that's not the way I'm approaching it, because I feel like people forgot this. I mean, especially a lot of the conspiracy theories can't see past their like, look, they're putting straight up Satan like stuff in front of your faces like for entertainment. Oh my god. Like, okay, the whole point of, and I was talking to my best friend about this actually, because I asked him, I was having my own thoughts about it, and I asked him, I was like, how do you feel about the whole, because he's not Christian or anything like that by any means, shapes, or form, but he is very he'd be looking for certain roots of issues, of movies, of shows. He'd be like, oh no, but this was really the point, or whatever. So we ended up having this conversation about the show, and I was like, so how do you feel about the whole Satan thing? Like, are you hailing Satan? What are we doing? Because he really loves the show, and he knows that I practice and all this stuff, but he his reaction to it was that it's not meant to be something that's they're trying to normalize the whole religious aspect of what religion is, especially when it comes to Christianity, Catholicism, mainly when it comes to Christianity in its many forms. And what they were trying to do was mirror that, but in a witch form, because it's very much a stereotype to think that just because you're a witch that you're hailing Satan. And so what they did was that they made that a very dark part of the whole concept of being a witch, for the show aspect, because they haven't quite talked about, they've spoken about different witches here and there, but when they're speaking about certain different covens, it's mainly that like Satan has different covens in different areas of the country, of the world, hailing him here and there, and you know, But they haven't. I hope, hopefully for me, I hope I see that moving forward in the series, that they talk more, or like talk about different types of covens, different types of witches, that, you know, praise other different things. I would love to see that on the show, but right now I feel like the reason why they did Satan is because that is a straight mirroring into the false god, which is God, Jesus. And so when you what the show is really doing is kind of is throwing a lot of Christian culture and into your face, basically, with like Hail Satan, and like you better pray to Satan that this isn't happening, you better ask for protection from Satan, like all this stuff. And then you have like the statue and stuff, and then they have like their church area, and then they have their own rituals and things, because the church also has its own rituals and things. So it's like a mirroring. It's like, hey, you know that if this was the way, like obviously if I mean, in the show, they, like, humans don't know, they only know about witches what the basic stuff about witches. But if that was the perception, and it was kind of like popularized, like, hey, you know, all witches hail Satan and this is what we do, then it would have been like a whole false god against the real god type of situation. And it's an interesting perspective to bring on. It's not about trying to convert people into Satanism. It's about saying, you guys know what you sound like, right? Do you know what you sound like when you say these things, when you are in a room and you're full of like religious family members, and they'll be like, oh, praise the Lord, this didn't happen, or, you know, stuff like that. Like those little kind of regular culturistic parts of the way that religion integrates into our daily, and how it integrates, and different things that like come forth, that like the high priest being all like, well, I was shown a sign by Satan himself, he gave me a sign about this. That's how pastors kind of tend to manipulate the herd. There's a lot of ways which you can break down the way that whole in the show, the way I don't want to call it religion, I guess, but it is. But the way the whole Satan religion situation happened in the show, you can break it down and say, like, wait, you can point by point mirror this straight back to Christianity, like straight back. And the point of Sabrina having and wanting that free will throughout the whole season was the whole point, in which, to me, growing up in a Christian family, Catholic family as well, to me, I've asked so many times, I'm like, if you were given the freedom, why can't I do whatever I want? Like, why do I have to get punished for it? And that's kind of the whole point of it. Like, she's constantly questioning why it's being forced upon her, why this, in order for her to receive this, she needs to, like, it has to be signed in blood and all the stuff. It has to be like, I give my soul away. Like, why does it have to be that? And that's something that I feel like religion always lacks in answering. And so, and the answer is usually like, you know, because you're saving your soul or whatever. Like in the show, it's different, because it's like, it's power. You're gaining power, and that's what you're receiving for giving your soul up. You're gaining power, you're gaining youth, you're getting all these things. So it's like, it's a mirroring too, because the same way where you convert to Christianity in some form, you are promised salvation, and you are promised to be looked after as well, to some extent. With whatever you ask or whatever you pray for, you can then receive with what you do. So there's a mirroring effect. So for those who got all types of like scared, or like, you know, about the whole Hail Satan thing, throughout watching the show, I was like, oh my god, this whole thing is very hilarious, but it's kind of like, I'm definitely the Sabrina of the show. I'm just like, but why? But I still think it's interesting, the way it's taking place. I think it's an interesting concept as well. I kind of hope to see some more like religious kind of bobbing head kind of thing, like challenging different things. So hopefully we see that a little bit more. And actually, one of the things I wrote down that I would love to see, especially as the show continues to get more popular, is I want them to print out the Satan Bible. I want to know, because one of the things they did in one of the episodes was start telling the story of Adam and Eve and how it demonized Eve, and it made the man like looked like, you know, he was all holy, which is something I think that's gonna start turning into in the second season, because if you've noticed, there is a lot of like male and female tones to the show, like controlling guys and nurturing women, that both the stereotypes but the kind of archetype of those things have been kind of in the forefront, and I feel like it's gonna kind of be that Adam and Eve story playing out. So we'll see how that turns, but I kind of I hope that they print it out. Listen, if they could print out Barney Simpson's like pickup books from How I Met Your Mother, they can print out the Satan Bible from the show. I'm just saying, I would love to read it, like, just for the sake of reading it. Like, I just feel like it would literally be the opposite / mocking of all the stories that are in the Bible now, but in Satan's version. I am super curious. So Netflix, if you're watching, please, thank you. The next thing that I put on my favorites list is the spells, and the reason why I put the spells in my favorites list is because I knew from watching it that they were real, but I actually went in and I was like doing a little bit of research, and I found one of the interviews with the girl that plays Constance, and she was talking about how the spells were like real, and how she takes precautions. She uses sage and Palo Santo just to like cleanse up to the set and all that stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I knew that the spells were real while I was watching the show, and I was like, yeah, you can literally pick an episode and pick a spell and just do it. And yeah, like, it's about intention, obviously. I definitely would not recommend the necromancy spell, but you know, for obvious reasons. But I think it's interesting how they really did their research and included real spells. They also have actual pagans working on the show, which is, I think is really cool, that they included that, and that they kind of wanted to really make it authentic. They have a lot of stuff on set too, that they were saying that they picked a lot of different amulets and certain things and certain words that are meant to be protective, so, you know, they're not, you know, summoning some stuff. Hail Satan, right? Okay. So I thought that was really interesting, and I would also love to see, like, as the seasons progress, like a book of spells coming from the show. That would be, why not? That would be awesome. The third thing that I put down as my favorites list is Salem, and I just love, one, that Salem is a goblin. I love that he can change his kind of shape, but he's also a cat. Obviously, that's his classic form anyway, but I first of all, I love cats, so I've always loved Salem in every single thing. But I feel like next season, I know he's definitely going to start talking, because they teased that already in the show, but I think it's going to be interesting, because I think he knows more. He's been in the woods for a long time, I feel like, so I feel like he has some things that he's like street savvy, he's wood savvy, he's forest savvy, that's what he is. So I feel like he has that kind of, that thing that out of those book of familiars that she would have picked that they wouldn't have had, though they are all, you know, protective and all that stuff. I feel like he has some forest savviness, and I feel like there's still a lot of forest stuff. I mean, she's gonna be doing a lot of spell work in the forest, but I feel like there's still a lot of stuff, you know, secrets and stuff going on, and he's going to be doing a lot with that, and I feel like that's why he came to her, not just because, you know, it's a classic character, but the way he came into the picture wasn't, you know, it wasn't the same. So I feel like his purpose, I'm very curious. But I love Salem. Always comes in handy. When she was in the maze, honestly, I kind of like that they did this with Salem. They didn't make it obvious when he was gonna come in, which is kind of like Jesus. It kind of leaves you guessing when or not he's gonna just jump out and be present. I thought it was cool because what ended up happening was that while she was in the maze for me, I was like, yo, how it's running really fast. The scarecrow is running really fast. How you gonna do, what spell are you thinking about? Like, I'm thinking she's gonna do a spell or something, and then I see this, and I'm like, too smart, boo. So I was kind of really like happily surprised, because a lot of the time when it comes to different shows, I'm able to kind of think ahead of like, and then some of the episodes kind of got like that, where I was like, when it came to Harvey's brother, like I knew she was gonna end up doing a spell to bring him back. Like I already knew, but I like that I couldn't see that coming. I feel like there's still some surprising elements to the show, and I hope that it keeps that type of vibe. I feel like with Salem, you kind of forget that he's there because he's not always in your face, as with how it was a lot with the other show. It's not the same. It's like they'll make you forget he's even in the show, and he'll come in and he'll just like save you, and it's like, Salem, yes. So Salem is one of my favorites. I just want to talk about Hilda Spellman, and the reason why I want to talk about her is because I know I'm requesting a lot from Netflix right now, because I already requested 2 other books, which is the Satan Bible and also the Book of Spells from the show. I'm also going to be requesting the cookbook from you guys. This might have to be somebody else that does this, because one of my favorite things, I love to read. I read a lot, but one of my favorite things that people do, like fandoms do, is that someone will know how to cook, and they'll just break down the recipes and start like doing like Game of Thrones cookbook, Hunger Games cookbook, Harry Potter cookbook, all these things. I love somebody out there who's a cook or who's a chef. Please hear my call. Stock all the Hilda like cooking episodes, and please formulate your recipes. I want to read it. You can have my money, okay? So that's like the 3rd book I'm requesting from Netflix. The next thing I wanted to talk about was Ross, which is Sabrina's best friend, and I just kind of love how her character developed into having the cunning, which is her ability to get visions. And this is what I was talking about earlier about, I kind of want to see if there's different types of witches that are going to come up, not just the ones that hail Satan and sign the name in the book. Like, are there other types of witches that are going to come up? Because I feel, well, Ross definitely has powers, so she's definitely leaning towards not fully human type stuff. So I'm kind of waiting for somebody to be like, hey, so you're this. Like, actually, when she first told Sabrina, hey, I had a vision about this, I was waiting for Sabrina to be like, oh shit, you're from this, you know, like something, but it didn't happen. So I'm like, I don't know, but hopefully something develops there, because I don't want her to just be like the person who gets visions. Like, I want her to also feel like she's a part of something, especially something that's empowering. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that I love that they did a nod to Wicca by naming the abbreviation of the club being Wicca, which is the girls' women's club at the school. And I think it's just Sabrina just killed it with that one. I love that she's very much a feminist, and she's very powerful in that way. Like, she takes no bullshit. So I really appreciate that from her, and I think that the whole nod to Wicca was really cute. Like, I was just like, oh, like, you know, yeah, I don't know, I just thought it was cute. I hope other witches thought it was cute, especially if you're a Wiccan, because that was cute. I'm just saying, they're out here using the pentacle like it's crazy, so y'all better think that was cute, because I think that was cute. The next thing that I thought was really awesome was the Weird Sisters. I was very conflicted as to where the relationship with these girls were going, but it just seems like it's like a up and down type thing. But towards the end of the season, it got really, really strong. And I kind of really enjoyed it, because they're like, they were villains, kind of, not really, but kind of, and then now they're like cool, I guess. I don't know. I really just, I love it when they're in scenes. I feel like they're very kind of almost classy, stereotypically kind of Coven style, like bad bitches, bad witches, whatever you want to kind of call it. But they do a really good job of kind of coming together. I also love that the leader of said group is a woman of color, and she is gorgeous. But I think it's really interesting, the dynamic between Sabrina and the girls, and I feel like I can't wait to see what happens next with them. I feel like I definitely feel like their bond grew closer after Sabrina killed Constance. But you know, not Constance. What's her name? What's her name? Hold on, I have it like written here. I like wrote them all down because where they at? Where they at? Where they at? Hold up. Where's she at? What's her name? Agatha. Yeah, there you go. After they killed Agatha, I think they got closer from that situation magically. So it's kind of nice to know that they're not holding weird grudges anymore. So hopefully that goes really well. I feel like, again, I like the fact that Sabrina got a little bit darker after she signed the name in the book. I kind of didn't want her to sign it though. Like, I wanted her to be like, no, the man, or Satan, I guess, in this. But I feel like she's gonna continue to kind of fight, but she did get a little bit darker. But I'm interested in seeing how that changes her character, or how she will kind of adapt to her darker side. Yeah, how she will adapt to the darker side. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about is the amazing and wonderful wait, where's she at? Damn it, why can't I find the, hold on. Oh, there we go. Michelle Gomez, who I loved from Doctor Who. Love Doctor Who. But she plays Mary Wardell, or what's her other name? It's something Satan. Oh, Madam Satan, of course. I completely love her character. She slayed and killed and murdered this whole entire show. She was definitely born for this role, I would say. But she does a really great job with the character. I'm waiting to see if it gets, like, what she's gonna do, how dark she's gonna get. I feel like she did a lot. The way that she got Sabrina to sign the book, I thought was a little bit like, I was a little bit irritated. And I will say this because it kind of made it seem like Sabrina was more powerful than her when she had already signed the book. So she already should have the power enough to stop, you know, the 13 witches and the, was it the Horsemen of Death? She should have had the power already. So this whole trying to convince Sabrina to sign the book thing, I was just like, wait, but if I was Sabrina, I would have been like, what, but why can't you do it? You already signed this shit. You know, like, I'll find a loophole in the loophole. But yeah, so I thought that was like a weird cop-out to have that be the way that she signs the book. However, I feel like she's been doing a great job kind of manipulating the scenes. I kind of hated that she killed her familiar though, and hopefully that comes back somehow. Because I really liked her familiar. I kind of liked her weird stalking habits. It was kind of really interesting, and it gave the show a little bit of another edge, because she was like an evil Salem kind of. She would kind of come in and be there when you least expected her to be. Like, you forgot she was in the show, and then randomly you'll see her walking in her house, and you're like, wait, why did she just come to her house? So I thought that was kind of interesting how they did that with quite a bit of the characters. Yeah. Other thoughts, because those were like my favorite things that I pretty much wrote down. Other thoughts from the episodes. The witch's exorcism was very interesting, I personally thought, because they called on other witches spirits to help them, so that was kind of cool. It was really cool seeing that, because I mean, that's something that we all know that the church does. Like, they, you know, exorcise demons using what is on the show called as the false god. And so I thought that was really interesting, the way that they kind of spin that, because they were gonna have to address that type of, if the show was gonna have demons at some point, you know, somebody was getting possessed, so they had to kind of address that. So I thought that was actually a really cool episode. Overall, I really love the spell work. Salem, obviously, Netflix, you owe me 3 books. I'll let you guys know if I come up with any other books books that you guys need to put out, but those are the three. As far as because I didn't talk about Zelda too much, she had her very irritating moments and her very surprising moments, but for the most part, like she was a great character. She has like this crazy personality, but I love Hilda more because she's a little bit more nurturing. And Zelda is like that kind of strict religious parent that doesn't want you to stray and stuff like that. Like, so it was kind of like I already have that archetype in my life, so seeing the opposite is, you know, more me, I guess, right now. So yeah, she was very interesting as a character. Yeah, I'm waiting to see what they're gonna do with a lot of different things. I can't wait for the next season. It got renewed for like season 3 and 4. Then season 2 comes out in April, I believe. So I'm excited. We'll see how that turns. But those were my thoughts and my review-ish of Sabrina, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I think they did a really good job. I think it's really dark, and I really, really loved it. Yeah. Anyway, so I will see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe.